it stacks, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so when they introduced this, it didn't have an upper limit. And somebody decided to see how broken they could do this. And so I guess the person who does like the guides for Frost Death Knights decided that he would push the bounds. I know you probably haven't played WoW in a good
Decade?
15 years?
Yeah, probably decade at least.
Something
yeah.
like that?
Mhm.
At least a decade. It's changed a lot over the years. The quick question for you, do you remember kind of the classes that were in it?
A little bit.
More or less.
I think I was a druid. That's what I
You
remember.
were the cat. You played a feral druid, I think.
Yes, a Tauren.
Over the years they've added a couple classes, a couple races to the game. Now it's got a lot more options. Druid, you've got your hunter, your warrior. With the newest expansion, they added a Drakthir Evoker. It is a class and race in one.
Oh.
So it cannot be anything but a Drakthir, and it is itself just the Evoker.
Got it.
So the Drakthir can't be any other class. They're just the Evokers, I believe.
Got it. And Evokers are only the Drakthir.
Yes.
They're exclusive to each other. Got it.
Yeah, kind of like the Demon Hunter in Legion was only elves. It could only be a Night Elf or a Blood Elf that could be a Demon Hunter.
Sure, okay.
The Drakthir Evoker started with only 2 specializations. If you remember the talent specs that a class can be. One of them is Healer, and the other is Ranged DPS, I believe.
Okay.
For the Evoker.
Sure.
With one of the recent patches, they added a third option to their spec.
Okay.
This one is the first ever support class in WoW. Or support spec, I guess I should say.
Okay.
This is not something the game has ever done before. It's new territory for them, and the idea is that if it is received well, it opens the door to adding more specs or classes or whatever in the future that is more support based. And WoW, as you have played, if you remember, the party is generally tank, healer, 3 DPS.
Yeah.
And now the support option gives you the chance to, it's still DPS technically,
sure,
but it does a lot of buffs as a support class should. I had a question for you also. Given a 30-man raid, which is an option, 30-man raids, what do you think the makeup of a 30-man raid would normally be?
Well, I guess if I'm scaling up, you'd have, 18 DPS, and you would have, 6 healer class, 6 tanks?
That's a lot. Generally for like that, you'd have like 2 tanks, 2 heals, and DPS.
Okay.
I believe, or is how that breaks down.
Okay.
Main tank, off tank, or because you swap tanks back and forth.
Okay.
You might even have 4 healers. I think you might have 2 tanks, 4 healers in that case. I cannot remember the exact number.
Okay.
Given that there's now a support spec in the game, what do you think the makeup would be for tanks, healers, DPS, and then support?
I would imagine that you'd probably take one of the tanks and one of the healers, and you would replace them with the support classes. My normal thought process. So, like, if you're having 2 tanks, 2 healers, and a DPS, that you would either replace your tank or your healer with a support character.
Sure. This is a 30-man thing, so you'd still have...
I mean, scale up from there, but,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd still probably want the 2 tanks. The support can't tank, and you really do benefit from having, like, 2 tanks in the party.
Right.
What would you say the upper limit of support is?
I mean, I normally wouldn't think for a support class. Well, I guess okay, here's the question I have. The support abilities that they possess, are they area effects, or are they specific to another character? Do they put them onto a specific character, or do
I
they do
believe
an
they
area
put them onto a specific character or a couple characters.
Oh,
They have a couple that are like, I guess they can affect a smaller area too, but like,
yeah,
most of them are like a couple characters.
And then the other question that I have is, who are they going to benefit the most? Like, are they there to buff the tanks so that they are tankier, or are they there to buff the DPS folks so that they can do more damage per second?
They can do any of those, actually. They can buff the tanks to make them more tankier, they can buff a healer to make them more healier, or have better range on the healing, but they can also buff damage.
See, this is the thing, like, if they were doing area attacks, I would say you probably don't need all that many of them, but if you're only focusing on doing support class for each one, you practically need, like, a 1-to-1 ratio at a certain point to get the maximum
I mean, you don't
out.
need to buff everybody.
Well, okay,
so
you do, okay,
you
but...
would probably focus, you know, the tanks if you were focusing that or the healers, but...
What, I guess, what,
I would like
6?
to paint a picture for you.
Yeah.
Sure. 6 on like a 30-man?
Why not?
So I want to paint a
tanks
picture
here.
for you.
Yeah, okay.
And by paint a picture for you, I mean I would like to show you this first of the 2 images I sent you.
Okay.
Or I posted with a spoiler there.
Alright, I'm gonna look at this here. Alright.
Okay, this is from a 30-man raid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And you can share this. This is a screen capped from a video, obviously, that someone had. You see the picture there? I'm looking at it on my phone. Do you see the big block in the top left corner there?
Top left corner. Yeah, I see this.
Yeah,
this is your 50.
This is the 30 different
30.
people.
Yep.
This is the party makeup.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember this at all, but WoW has always done a really good job of color coding the players in their parties and chats based on what class they are.
Sure.
So each class has a different color. As a paladin, my current character I'm playing, my chat and in a party I will come up as pink.
Okay.
Nathan, there's a lot of one color on that, isn't there?
There's a dark green. I can't make out what that is though. What?
So the dark green tealish color, that is the Drakthir augmentation evoker, the support class. And I would like to let you know that this party composition is 2 Frost Death Knights, I think 2 Shadow Priests, a mage, I think a warrior, a monk for healing, and 22 augmentation evokers.
It stacks, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so when they introduced this, it didn't have an upper limit. And somebody decided to see how broken they could do this. And so I guess the person who does like the guides for Frost Death Knights decided that he would push the bounds. And so stacking 22 augmentation evokers is apparently something you could do. It has been nerfed to an upper limit of, I believe, 4. At this point, you can stack it 4 times.
Got it. That's going to change the composition a bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So the issue here is if you want to take a look at the second picture I've sent you, Nathan.
Hold on.
This is I believe the damage charts for this fight.
Okay. Yep.
Those top 2 are the Frost Death Knights, which are the burstiest burst damage in the game.
Sure. I'm seeing that.
Yeah,
and we've got about 30% between the 2 of them. Roughly 30%.
Between the
top 2, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got 3 million and 1 million DPS. Then the next lowest is 900,000.
Yes.
And then it just goes down from there. Mm-hmm. So I guess so one of the abilities I guess the Drakthir has is it is stacked. But what it did is it created an echo, but the echo would chain off the other echoes. So as the person I was watching Bellular Warcraft channel was doing this, and he was like, so what happens is this ability they have chains, and the 22nd evoker's ability chains to the 20th, who then adds to that, chains that and adds to it, and then it does that exponentially. And given a couple evokers, it doesn't really go off the charts, but given 22 of them, exponentially chaining. The number goes really off the charts. So you had these DKs. They downed this boss, I think, in 20 seconds.
Great.
Yeah. So they added a support class to the game. They forgot to really give it an upper limit, and then they went, our bad guys.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I think this is really cool. As a longtime World of Warcraft fan, as a fan of D&D, support classes can be really cool. Bards are fun.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Druids aren't a support, but they can be a support. Bards aren't really a support, but they can be a support. Any class that can support and then change the fundamental party makeup to a point where your tanks are tankier and your healers are healier and your DPS is going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's good,
Yeah.
I think. There's been hot takes from people who are like, brr, seeing a party made up of 22 of these breaking the game.
Right.
Kind of cool, kind of amazing, kind of ridiculous.
I can see the critique that would be made from this, which is that at a certain point you just overload the support class, and no one else is like playing the other things. This feels like a spiffing Brit video. Looking at it, but the second you started talking about stacking and echoing, I started to realize where your problem lies. This is why they usually only stack to a certain degree.
Yeah, and they have fixed it since.
Sure.
But it is their first step into support class territory, which other games have done for years. Final Fantasy Online has support classes, for instance.
Sure.
I'm hoping that this is received well by the greater Warcraft player base, because it would give us the chance for, say, a bard to make an appearance, an actual bard being a support, a jack of all trades, could be a little bit of a rogue, could be a little bit of support, could be ranged, who knows.
Yeah.
Bards and clerics, I would love to see both. I've been saying for years, Warcraft needs a cleric. It needs to be the middle ground between a paladin and a priest. A male armor wearing, spell slinging, shield and melee wearing, support class.
Sure.
It can do a bit of healing, it can do a bit of spells, it can do a bit of melee, and it's wearing male armor. It's kind of like the shaman, but holy magic.
Yeah.
I would like to see the shaman receive a support spec. Get our totems back. I know you haven't been playing WoW in years. I think this is really an interesting thing. I haven't played the Evoker at all yet, but I would like to try the augmentation.
Well, I mean, considering that apparently 3/4 of the Warcraft population is going to now have to be Evokers.
There's a lot of need for them, I guess. They're like, yeah, everyone running Mythic, the high-end stuff, is like, yep, you need at least one Evoker.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I wanted to share because it's ridiculous. You wouldn't think to put 22 of one class spec into a party together. Generally, that's not really ideal.
Right. But then again, I don't normally think about 30-person raids as a general concept either, so...
And it's so funny because, as you saw in that damage chart, it's, full, and then, the closest thing after that is, half as much as the other two, you know?
Right.
And it's just so silly.
Yeah.
So silly.
I can pretty much
I heard this.
Yeah.
I heard it and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I can totally understand, though, if they start to say this will only stack, 4 times, you're probably only going to see, 4 Evokers. Whatever the stack limit is, yeah.
Yeah, it would be silly to have more than that at that point.
Exactly.
Or you have others, if it still works, but doesn't, maybe it stacks to different players then.
Yeah, if it's to a singular player and you have your 2 DPS runs, then you'd probably put 8 so that you have 4 that will stack onto each one of them. So something like that. Which
still sounds a little broken, but probably not nearly as broken as making people do, 60 million damage in seconds.
3 million damage per second.
Yeah.
And 1.6 million.
A whole lot.
Yeah. I do see that the the problem with large numbers seems to come up a lot when it comes to WoW bosses, because when their hit total becomes so large, I just kind of like check out. Like that just seems like an impossible number to deal with. So
To be fair, this is after the number crunch they did back in Wrath of the Lich King.
oh sure.
If you remember, I think you were playing around then.
I was playing when that came out. I was playing when
Yeah.
Wrath of the Lich King
So
came
the
out.
issue they had then was they went, we're gonna have to take a few zeros off here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna be in the billions, and that just makes any weight that it gives you just feel so much worse. And
Yeah.
they've done it a couple more times since then, but I think this is cool. I like the idea of them putting support in. I would like to see more of it as well. I'd like people to not complain about it because it's something new they're trying, and they're trying to put new, stuff that makes the game better. They're coming up on their 20 years of World of Warcraft.
Got it.
So they're probably going to go all out for the 20 years. That's a big number for a game.
Yeah.
I would like to see some really cool stuff. I'd like to see some support. I'd like to see people embrace it.
I do appreciate that they're trying to add in actual classes and changes to the structure, because after 20 years, asking WoW to do something innovative seems like a huge risk, but it also seems like something kind of necessary considering how people have been playing the same basic game.
As far as expansions go, it has been really fun. You feel like you're exploring, actually. The dragon riding, which I personally, going into it, was like, that doesn't sound interesting. I was like, this sounds really dumb. It sounds like a gimmick. I don't think it's going to be that cool. Again, the dragon fight, they give it to you like within 2 hours of being into the expansion, you have it. It's like, first we're introducing you to the zone, and it's like, we're going to go get you a dragon. You can customize the dragon. You can change how it looks, the color of its skin, the patterns, all its things. Dragon riding, super fun.
Well, yeah.
Honestly.
Get to ride a dragon. I mean, come on.
Well, you could already get mounts that were dragons.
Oh, okay.
I have several. You could already get mounts that were dragons. But the dragon riding is faster. You don't just kind of fly at one set speed. You can do a bunch of different maneuvers. You can dive. You can fucking glide. You can take off in the middle of the ground like a bullet.
Nice.
You can set it up so if you land near enemies, they take damage. I think they've been doing a lot of good stuff lately, actually. The story, the gameplay features they've been doing this expansion have been probably the best they've done in years.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, they got to find a way to keep it fresh for the 2-decade anniversary that they're dealing with. When I saw that one of the first big innovations they did a few years back was to do classic, like the biggest innovation was to have a server where it goes back to before they put all the stuff on it. I was like, we're running out of ideas.
I don't know if you know the story behind that.
People wanted to play the old versions.
It's not even that they wanted to play it. It's that people were hosting private servers.
Oh, gotcha.
They had their not quite legal versions. Like, it's still they own the game, but like, these are not Blizzard sanctioned. At the time, they were classic servers that people could play on their private servers.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so Blizzard went, hey, we would like to shut this down, but also we'd like to have you guys help us actually kick off our own private, not private, but actual classic servers.
Sure.
So that's why that exists, because players were going, we want classic WoW, and then there were private servers, and they went, yeah, no, cease and desist, but also, please, you're hired.
What do you think is going to be the upshot of, the support class for the future? What do you think is, now that they've nerfed it, now that they've revised it, what do you think the party structure is going to look like?
I think maybe 6 of them, tops, I think would be ideal, because honestly, people are gonna add a bunch of they're gonna min-max as much as they can in in the high dungeon content like that. They're gonna min-max. They're gonna be they're gonna do whatever it takes to get the best party composition they can.
Sure.
22 seems a bit excessive.
You think?
4 or 5 probably wouldn't be an issue. I think that would be probably fun. I don't do a lot of the high-end stuff. Like, I definitely have a character that could, like, do it. But, like, I don't usually have the time or energy.
Right.
I'm busy playing for fun. These people are playing like it's a job.
There are people that take this very seriously. This is why they have, like, raid coordinators now, so that they
They do. Were we talking about that one at one point? Or you just know about that?
I just know about that because I saw, I think, a Folding Ideas video about Warcraft.
Yeah, I saw that zone too. Yeah, they have somebody who's not even in the raid spectating and calling it out in a call. And that, to me, sounds like I would peace out real fast.
Yeah, this is not like a soccer game where I have to have a coach that's going to tell me what I'm doing. Okay.
Yeah, those are the people who take the game really seriously and the raids and stuff really seriously, and I'm never gonna be one of those people.
Yeah, not fun.
Like I'll do heroics and have fun, and I get annoyed when people run heroics and just like when they're running dungeon, they go, all right, cool, we're gonna avoid every mob that we can, we're gonna go this route around everything, and we're gonna go zip straight through. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, can we just kill everything? Let's do a full clear. I'd like to go through the dungeon, kill everything, and loot everything.
Yeah, that's usually what you do in the raids, but okay, I guess.
They're just like zipping straight to the bosses. So I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah. I think you lost the whole spirit of what we were doing to begin with and why we do these. Yeah, so if anyone out there has played WoW, let Alex know, because he'll talk your ear off about it, as you can probably tell.
Or he can just team up with me sometime.
Yeah,
we can cooperate, cross-faction now, so it's fine.
Yeah, if it's something that you care about, then you can leave a Raven note, and we'll take you to an undisclosed location where he will explain how you can contact him in-game. That'll be something. Leave comments down below, though, if you want to talk a little bit more about how you feel about support classes. Not just in WoW, but as a general idea in MMOs, and if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Let us know.